Right, so this is Q&A video number 1. So I've got a lot of questions, which is great. I love questions, I love answering them. I like to try to educate so you can dominate is the sort of quote that we go with. This is going to be raw and unedited, so if I fuck something up, let me know. My knowledge isn't perfect, but I'm going to answer these questions to the best of my ability. If you do have something to call me up on, please do, because that's only going to help me expand my knowledge. So feel free to jump on the keyboard and be a bit of a warrior. I'm not going to talk for too long because I can't stand the sound of my own voice for after 5-10 minutes, so I'm just going to go with 3 questions. I'll choose 1 nutrition, 1 training and 1 supplementation based question, so then we cover a few aspects of health and fitness. So we'll get into a roll. We'll start off with nutrition. So the question is, I've seen a lot of vegan bodybuilders on YouTube. Should I switch to a vegan diet? Is this going to be healthier and am I going to be able to maintain my gains? Okay, so the vegan diet can be very healthy, and yes, you can make gains and you can be a bodybuilder on the vegan diet, but I'm just letting you know it's going to be possibly the hardest diet that you could follow if you want to be a bodybuilder and make lots of gains in strength and muscle mass. The reason for this is that the vegan diet is basically high carbohydrate, high fat, with very little to no protein, and we don't need as much protein as we do carbohydrates and those sorts of things, but we do need protein for muscle growth, muscle recovery, muscle repair. Our muscle tissue is protein. It's consisted of protein and numerous muscle fibers and protein molecules, so it's hard to get protein on the vegan diet. You can say, yeah, I can eat beans, I can eat legumes, I can eat things like this because they're high protein, but the problem with these foods is that they don't have all of your essential amino acids. So protein basically broken down into 20 amino acids, 9 of them are essential. So by essential we mean that the body can't manufacture them themselves. No vegan food has all 9 essential amino acids within it. You can only get this from animal products and animal meat. So if you're eating legumes because they're high in protein and your body doesn't get all of the essential amino acids, your body's going to convert it to carbohydrate. It doesn't recognize it as a protein, so therefore it converts it to carbohydrate. So you might think you're getting all this protein in, but really your body is getting carbohydrate. Sorry for the background noise, we've got a little playground next to us. Great choice of location by myself, thanks for that. Now this doesn't mean that you can't get protein in a vegan diet, so the way to do it is to be very smart with your food combinations. So you have to pick and choose different types of food groups in order to get one meal with all of your essential amino acids. So this might mean that you're eating some legumes, some nuts, some seeds, a salad and starchy vegetable like sweet potato or parsnip. These are good choices. You need a combination of all of these in each meal to get a protein. The problem with this can be, if you're trying to stay really lean, is that by combining all these foods you're also going to have a lot of fats and carbohydrates, and you can't sort of help that. But this is the way that you can get the protein, and granted all these foods are really clean and lean and natural, so your body's not going to be getting in all these saturated fats and other things that are more associated with the meat diet. There is some supplements that are available to vegans if you don't want to get in a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of fats. So pea and rice based protein blends. These will contain all of your essential amino acids. They'll be very high protein, very low carb and very low fat. So I'm not saying that supplements are better than whole food. I'm just saying if you don't want to get all the carbohydrates and fats that you would get by combining starchy vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, that's an option for you. Once or twice a day, that'll be the max dose. So you can make gains, it's just hard, but you can do it. So if you do it, let me know how you go. Keep a month-to-month progress, let me know how you're going. I'd like to keep track of that because I'm quite curious in it myself. I think that the body runs well off natural foods. As I said, just make sure you get your combinations right within each meal, otherwise you won't be getting in enough protein each day. Alright, so we'll move on to the training question. Little girl playing in the pirate ship, just in case you couldn't get what was going on in the background there. Alright, so the training question. Is it better to train once a day for a longer session or twice a day, 2 like 45-minute sessions, so higher intensity? There's no one answer to this question. Training twice a day is much better hormonally and metabolically. So when we're training for a shorter duration but higher intensity, we'll release a lot of growth hormone. Our insulin sensitivity will increase twice in the day, and our metabolism will also boost twice in the day. So this is going to be great for staying lean, burning calories, and building muscle. The problem with long duration sessions is that when you go past that, it's different for everyone, but roughly that 40 to 45 minute window, you start releasing a lot of cortisol and catabolic hormones. So catabolic are basically those hormones that are going to break down tissue. So you feed off fat tissue, you feed off muscle tissue. Obviously, if we're training in the gym to gain muscle, we don't want to be feeding off of muscle tissue for half of our session. So hormonally, we want to stick to the anabolic hormones, so growth hormone being number one, and we can ensure this by keeping our sessions to around that 45-minute mark. You need to go hard in these sessions. You can't just take it easy as if you're doing a long session. You need to go heavy, you need to keep your rest breaks short to get that full spike without going into that catabolic period that would come later on. It's not to say that you can't do the longer sessions. I do the longer sessions. I find that I love the gym, I love training, so more volume means that I can get in more exercises, I can target muscles from different angles. I can also work on different attributes of fitness, so I can work on strength, power, hypertrophy, speed, core, balance. Like I can fit that into the one session, and this works sort of best for my schedule, so that's another important thing, what works best for your schedule. To counteract the catabolic nature of the long training, I do supplement with branched chain amino acids. Particularly leucine is very important. So studies show that a clinical dose of 3 grams of leucine can help to prevent excess muscle breakdown or catabolism while you're training. And I think this is important if you're training for the long period of time. You don't always have to supplement with aminos, but if you're planning to train for longer than an hour, hour and a half, you probably should. And yeah, 3 grams of leucine in the branched chain aminos is what you're looking for, like minimum. Now, it sounds like from everything I've said that training twice a day is much better. There's another form of overtraining when we're not just considering muscles, and it's our central nervous system that we have to consider. So for training twice a day, we are going to beat down and basically fry our central nervous system. So the nervous system is your brain, your spinal cord, all the nerves that are attached to it, goes into your peripheral nervous system, so it controls everything in the body. Your breathing, your mindset, your attitude, all of these things. If we overtrain that system, I think it's far more detrimental than overtraining the muscles, because your motivation will be gone. If you're not motivated, you're going to go to the gym and not train hard. If you're not training hard, when you go to the kitchen and you open up the fridge and you've got your chicken and broccoli and rice, or you've got your block of chocolate, you're probably going to go with the block of chocolate, or at least be more tempted to choose the unhealthier option. So if you find that you're lacking in motivation, you feel a bit down, you're not as energetic, there's a good chance that your nervous system is overtrained or overtaxed, and this can happen when we're hitting the 2 high intensity sessions in the same day. My recommendation would be stick to the 1 session a day for 3 weeks out of the month, and for that last week go with the 2 a day, just to change it up and get that different stimulus. But I'd only ever do it 1 week out of the month, just because we don't want to overtax that central nervous system. And I'd want to monitor my body. I would want to see how I'm feeling, what my appetite is like, my mood, how I'm getting on with friends, how I'm going with assignments. If I'm really struggling with these things, there's a good chance that I'm overtraining. You should focus on then your recovery, and maybe go back to the 1 session a day until your body adapts. The body can always adapt to it, but you can't just do it all at once. You can't go from training once a day, 3 days a week, to training twice a day, 5 days a week, because it's not going to work. So I hope that answers that question. So twice a day is better metabolically and hormonally. Once a day is better for your nervous system. So using a combination of both over the period of 4 or 5 weeks is probably what's going to give you the best results, depending on what your goals are. Alright, so last question, I'm going to go with one about supplements. I did see a really good question on here just before. Okay, so this is a question that a lot of people ask. Do we actually need supplements, and are they healthy? Are they good for my health? Okay, so no, we don't actually need supplements. Now it depends, because some supplements have advantages that we really can't, or we'd really struggle to get through food. But you can make great gains, progress, and have great performance without relying on supplements, or without having supplements as part of your schedule. It's not to say that supplements can't be of benefit, but if you're talking about can I train, can I eat well and look muscular and be strong and be lean, yes, you can do that without supplements. Supplements can help with the journey, but they're not 100% essential. Um, I'll talk about are they healthy and can we get them through food sort of at the same time. So we'll start off just with we'll just use the basic supplements, the ones that have sort of been proven performance and probably the most commonly used supplements. So protein powder would be the most common supplement. It's from 16 years old all the way to people that have been to hospital that have surgery and they're later in life. They all take some sort of protein supplement. They're not unhealthy. They're unhealthy if you take 5 shakes a day and are not eating real food. But if you're just having the recommended 1 shake a day post-training or 1 shake a day as a meal replacement sort of thing, that's not unhealthy. That's fine. Do you need to take a protein shake? No, you can easily get the amount of protein you need through food alone. So long as you're not on the vegan diet that we spoke about earlier, unless you're taking the vegan protein powders. Chicken, eggs, fish, beef, all of these foods contain a lot of protein, and you just need to work out how much protein you need in a day. And yeah, it's pretty easy to get through food, and in the Western culture we generally overeat protein. So you might find that if you use an app like MyFitnessPal, you're actually going over, and then you would say, well, I don't need the protein powder supplement. So the basic rule of thumb is for every kilo of body weight you need to be consuming 2.2 to 2.5 grams of protein per day. So if you weighed 100 kilos, you'd need 220 to 250 grams of protein. Most of us eat sort of within that range. I do. I'm not 100 kilos. I'm certainly not 100 kilos, and I should be aiming for less. So for me, definitely I don't need to use a protein powder, and that's why I don't anymore. I used to use them for a long period of time, but I haven't used one for a little while. So it's not unhealthy if you use it the right way, but at the same time you don't necessarily need it. So we'll move on to creatine, because creatine is probably the most studied supplement there is. It's proven to be effective for sprint training, for bodybuilding. It shuttles nutrients into the cell. It allows for quick recovery between reps. It allows the body to replicate energy production much more efficiently. So creatine can be very beneficial. This is a supplement that you do not 100% need to achieve great results. It's just a supplement that will help benefit your training and can enhance your results slightly. Creatine is not unhealthy if you're taking it the right way. So the clinical dose is about 5 grams a day. If you're going to creatine load like some people do, which is 20 grams a day for a week or something like that, there's different protocols, that might have some effect on the body. That may harm your kidneys, because you're having 4 times the amount that you actually need for an extended period of time. At the same token, if you would eat 4 times the amount of red meat, chicken or eggs or fruit that you need, you're probably going to have some negative effect on your liver or your kidneys. So it's not the supplement that's bad, it's the overuse or the abuse of the supplement. So as part of a healthy diet and training regime, it's fine. So don't need to stress. You've seen a documentary where someone had a kidney injury because they had creatine. Maybe if they overdosed it, they could have already had pre-existing kidney conditions. They could be taking artificial substances. We don't know that, but if you use it the right way, it's fine, it's safe. No, you don't 100% need it for performance. It will be something that can help. An interesting point is a lot of people say, well, you can just get creatine from food. That's true. There's creatine in beef, there's creatine in fish, but to get the 5 grams clinical dose that you would need for creatine to be effective, you have to eat 1.25 kilos of steak in one day. So if that was your choice of meat, you'd have to eat 1.25 kilos of steak in one day to get your 5 grams. It's probably doable. Like if you really love steak, you could probably eat it every meal. But then you've also got to consider the saturated fat content, the excessive protein that you'll be taking in, all things like that. So if you're worried about creatine being bad for your health, I'm pretty sure the 5 gram dose of creatine is going to be better for you than the 1.5 or 1.25 kilos of steak. So there's a fly on my face and it's fucking pissing me off. But we'll continue. That's what we do when we're outside. So yes, you can get creatine from food. Is it realistic? Not really, unless you've got an unlimited budget and you just really love your steak, I guess. So yeah, that's another one that's very important. We've already spoken about branched chain aminos. They're not 100% essential, but they can be beneficial for those who train for longer periods of time. If you're someone that goes to the gym and hits a good 45-minute workout, like a member of, say, F45 or a CrossFit gym or something like that, and you're just doing the 1 session a day, probably don't need it. Just make sure you're getting a good amount of lean protein before and after your training session. But as I said, for someone who's doing those longer duration events that doesn't want to sacrifice muscle mass, it's a good idea to supplement with your branched chain aminos. These are very small, fine molecules. They're basically broken down pre-digested proteins. They're not going to do any harm to your kidney. They're so small that eating a piece of chicken would be worse for your kidney than drinking a branched chain amino acid supplement. It's right on my lip, trying to get in my mouth. Glutamine. Glutamine is one that I actually had a few questions about on here. What is it? What is its role? So as I said before, our muscles are made up of protein. 67% of our muscle is glutamine. So the whole theory behind supplementing glutamine is that it's going to replicate muscle fiber so that we can recover faster. So it increases protein synthesis and helps us recover between workouts. The thing that I like about glutamine is it's actually much better for digestive health in your stomach. It has been used as a cure for things like leaky gut syndrome, so something where the food that we're eating is not being digested properly and actually leaching out as larger molecules into the system, causes people to get very sick. So glutamine is shown to be effective in digestive health. If we can digest our whole foods better, our energy, our performance, our mood, everything will be better. So it's not you are what you eat, it's you are what you digest, and glutamine can help with that. So yeah, once again, glutamine is a very small molecule, so it's not going to be bad for our health unless we're abusing it. And this is going to be the same with anything. If you abuse it, it's not going to be great for you. You can get glutamine through food. You need about 10 grams of glutamine a day in order to have that clinical effect for that recovery for muscle tissue and for stomach health. So 10 grams. To get 10 grams of glutamine from food, you would have to eat roughly 333 grams of protein, because 3% of the protein that we're consuming is glutamine. So yeah, 333 grams of protein in a day to get that 10 gram clinical dose. So this is obviously way too high in protein for most people, unless you're weighing around 130 to 150 kilos. So if that's your body weight and you're getting that 2.2 to 2.5 grams a day, that's fine. You can eat your 333 grams of protein. But if you're under 130 kilos, which most people are, it's probably not healthy to try to get your glutamine through your food. You can survive without glutamine, but if you do want the benefits of glutamine, you're probably best off supplementing it, because 333 grams of protein is roughly 1.5 kilos of chicken, steak, pork or fish, and it's not really realistic to eat 1.5 kilos of meat in a day. That's going to have a lot more consequences for your organs and for your body and your digestive tract and things like that. So if you want the benefits of glutamine, just go with 100% L-glutamine. It's a very fine molecule, it's an amino acid that's going to help with digestive health and recovery. If you don't want L-glutamine or you don't want to supplement it, that's fine. You don't 100% need it, but it's not really realistic to get through food, so just be aware of that. So that answers all the questions. I just want to quickly go back because I did forget to mention something in terms of vegan bodybuilding. One vitamin that you're going to lack is vitamin B12. This is something that you can get through some specialized herbs and things like that, but most likely through supplementation. B12 exists within the meat that we eat, so red meat's a good source, chicken, basically all animal meats. This vitamin is essential for energy metabolism, so it helps us to break down and metabolize our proteins, fats and carbohydrates so that the body can efficiently use them for energy. If you are deficient in B12, you might feel run down and fatigued. Same goes with iron. You're obviously going to need to be eating dark leafy greens or possibly supplementing with iron, which is going to help carry oxygen in the blood. If B12 and iron are lacking, and both could be the case on a vegan diet, your energy levels might decline. So just make sure that you're doing something to get that in, whether it's eating the dark leafy greens and looking for those herbs. Spirulina is a good source, and chlorella actually too. So look for those herbs, eat your dark leafy greens, and possibly consider supplementation. Obviously on a vegan diet, you're probably trying to be as natural as possible, so you probably don't want to supplement. So maybe just research vegan foods that are high in B12 and iron. It is hard and you will have to eat a lot of them, but you have to do it for your energy's sake. And if you're trying to make gains and be efficient in the gym and have a good workout, these are things that you're going to need. So micronutrients are just as important as macronutrients in my belief. And I hope that this video has answered all of these questions. If there's anything that I've left out or anything that I could elaborate on, or if there's anything that just sounds 100% wrong, please let me know, because as I said, it can help educate me, and then I can pass that on to my clients, and in future videos I can share that new knowledge. So hope you enjoyed, guys. Let me know if you enjoyed the video, and we'll be making one again probably a fortnight's time. We'll see how we go. Right, thanks guys.